We are at 7 o'clock. Grab your seats, folks, and we're going to get started. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Reading area, I'd like to welcome you to the Candidates Forum for Reading City Council tonight. When we scheduled this, we weren't sure that we were going to have such good competition from Ms. Harris and Mr. Trump. So thank you for joining us here. We appreciate it. We also want to thank the Cascade Theater for having us and United Way for helping us cover the costs of using the Cascade Theater. So thank you, United Way, and thank you, the Cascade Theater, as well. My name is Susan Wilson. I'll be your moderator. So when we talk about the City of Reading, and some of you know, I see lots of people who know a lot about the City of Reading out there. When we talk about the responsibilities of the office that you all are running for, we look at these things. Participating in the activities of the City of Reading, reviewing and approving the annual budget, establishing long and short-term objectives and priorities, overseeing the performance of local public employees, overseeing effectiveness of programs, establishing tax rates, entering into legal contracts, borrowing funds, passing ordinances and resolutions, and those are just the tip of the iceberg for folks. I need to explain how this election is working this time. See, we put those two people down at the end all by themselves over there. Anthony Spengler, Mark Mazzano, and Aaron Resner, who is not able to join us tonight, will be running for a 2-year seat. So there's one 2-year seat. This is the seat that was vacated by Mike DeQuisto, right? And then there are 2 seats that here. There are 2 seats that run for 4 years. And the candidates for those 2 seats are right here at the 2 tables. In order, Ian Hill, Dave, I don't know how to say your last name, Dave.
Just forget that the E is there and you have it. Backus.
Backus, okay. And then Paul Danuka, Mike Littau, and Joshua Johnson. So that's our group of candidates for the two spaces, 2 seats, for 5 people running for those 2 seats, and the top two get those seats. So just so that you understand when you sit down to vote. A few most of you were here before, so I'm not going to talk much about the elections, except to say that people always think that the night of the election, the number that you see is the right number, but it's not the right number. It takes longer than that to count ballots. And this year, because we have something like, I can't remember, even in Shasta County, there's like 50-some different elections to vote on. It's going to take a long time to come up with numbers. So keep in mind that the final number is really not rubber stamped until December 13th by the Secretary of State. You know, I mean, we'll have a darn good idea well before that, but that's the final number. And then I want you to know that you can register to vote online at register-to-vote-california or .ca.gov, which is fairly easy. And one of the other things that I really like is that you can track your ballot if you go online and sign up at Ballot Tracks. It tells you when they get your envelope, when they open your envelope, when they count your envelope, so that, you know, that feeling you have when you drop it in the mail and you think, oh, how am I going to know if this works? You can know if it works if you use that system. I want to remind you that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. The League encourages, and tries to ensure informed and active citizen participation in government and influencing public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not endorse any candidates for partisan office. Tonight we are recording this event, and you'll be able to pull that recording off tomorrow or very early the next day. So describing the format for this evening, most of you know now how we work, but technically, all of you in the audience got 3x5 cards, hopefully when you came in. We are asking different questions of people who are running for the city council than we were asking of people who run for the assembly. So you have to fill out new cards, because that's what we're going to use, is those new cards. And I don't have a single solitary one yet, so I'm getting a little bit nervous. So there's that. Make sure that your questions are applicable. Great. I thought I saw a handful down there. Make sure that your questions are applicable to everybody. And what we do is we sort of start at one end, and then we go around, and then we start somewhere in the middle and go around and go around and go around, so that everybody's going to get a chance to answer the question first, and everybody's going to get a chance to answer the question last. We have a 2-minute opening, 1 minute for questions. That I know that's not much, but there's a lot of you, and 2 minutes for closing. So make sure that those openings and closings catch all the important things. Our timekeeper and our timekeepers are down here. We have Donna Nelson and Holland Chase, and hold up. We're not going to torture you on the 1 minute thing, but she is going to hold up a 15 seconds so that you know that you have to kind of pull it together, okay? And then go for the stop. I think that's just about it. So they drew straws, drew numbers, and poor Ian is down there all by himself. Anthony is down there, and he gets to start. Anthony and Mark, remember, Anthony and Mark are the two that are looking for a 2-year position. That's why we put them there, so that you could get that firmly in your mind, okay? All right. Anthony, you're first.
Good evening. I moved here, me and my family moved here when I was 3 months old to Shasta County, and I spent my youth in Cottonwood. I eventually graduated from West Valley High School and then spent the last 9 years in Reading as a local Reading resident, where I met my wife and became a father of 2. I eventually graduated from Shasta College with my associate's degree to transfer and moved on to get my bachelor's degree in business administration through SNHU. I'm currently a small business owner, and I'm a part of the Reading Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also a member of the Active 30 Club of Reading, number 143, and the Anderson Mount Lassen Grange, number 148.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, good evening, and thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day, your life, to come here and learn a little about your city's leaders and your future leaders. My name is Mark Mazzano, and I am running for the 2-year term for your Reading City Council. I've lived in Reading since 2005. I moved to the North State in 1999 while I was employed by the California Highway Patrol. I've honorably retired after 29 years and continue my public service on your city council. My wife Kathy and I live in Reading. We've raised 2 wonderful children, Marcus and Christine, and now I'm happy to report we're the proud grandparents of 18-month-old Jackson Plummer. He's a great young man. He keeps us young. In 2020, though, I didn't like the direction our city was headed. Our city leaders were driving special interests in a direction I felt not in the best interest of our city. I was elected to your city council in 2020, excelling past the sitting mayor and councilwoman Julie Winters. My promise was to rebuild our police and fire departments and focus on reducing the incidence of homelessness. That's what you asked for, and that's what I delivered. I'm going to tell you that our police department is fully staffed. We have the most sworn personnel in the history of the department. And I'll give you a quick statistical run. Aggravated assault in the last 9 months, down from 395 to 308. Robbery, down from 74 to 65. Burglary, down from 418 to 143. Larceny has gone down from 861 to 715. And we've cut vehicle theft in half from 309 to 168. Our fire trucks have 3 and in some cases 4 firefighters on every truck. And that's important because OSHA says they can't come into your house until there's a 3rd firefighter on that scene. I've fought for that on your city council. We are also building, we've bought the land to buy our 9th fire station, and I'm proud of that. Our homeless problem in Reading, it isn't growing, it's getting better. We've got several programs out there that are working, and I think you'll be able to see more of that tonight.
Thank you. Ian?
Sorry. Oh, okay. Hello, I'm Ian Hill. I currently work as a GIS mapping specialist in the assessor's office and have been a public servant for over 6 years at both county and city levels. I'm also a union steward fighting for my local workers, for my fellow workers, even so far as helping lead the largest labor action in the North State in some time. I will focus on community and resilience if you're willing to chill with Hill. Climate, fire and water preparedness, housing, establish a robust continuum of housing accessible to all residents and the stability it provides. Infrastructure, sustaining the future with physical and technological improvements like roads and fiber, learning, university policies and training programs, labor, protecting the rights and dignity of all workers and creating local jobs. I know Reading has problems. The point of the council is to acknowledge them and elevate them and bring to bear the relevant people and resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
So I want to reiterate, thank you very much to the league. I know how much it takes to put on an event like this scale, and it's a lot. So thank you for your time. For those who I have not met, my name is Dave Backus, and I am running for Reading City Council. Nearly 15 years ago, my wife and I embarked on a new adventure, and we decided that, we decided via a job offer that this would be the place that we went to, which luckily for my wife, it was like going home. She was born at Mercy. And for myself, I had seen on the local news that this was always the hottest temperature because I grew up in Paradise. And if you know Paradise, small town, and small town values where neighbors know each other and we take care of each other. I knew within the first week, though, of being here that this was a place to grow roots, and grow we did. We bought our first home here. I opened my first business here, and we have continuously operated it in Reading for the entire time that we've lived here. Reading was where we planned to grow even more and have a family. And unfortunately, life sometimes takes you in a different way. And we found out that we couldn't have our own kids naturally. And during that time, that hard time, I found a new passion, and that was volunteering and service through my community. And I got my first board seat operating on a nonprofit. Reading is also where I opened my first foundation, which is dedicated to helping end food scarcity among the youth in our community. And since I began my volunteer work, I have put in well over 1,000 personal volunteer hours unpaid, nearly all of it to improve the lives of youth in our community, dedicating the time that I would have had with family to be a force for good. I'll name some of the organizations that I've worked with while I've got 15 seconds left. Good News Rescue Mission, Haven Humane Society, North Valley Catholic Social Services, Kiwanis Clubs, and a bunch of other things, but I only have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
Dear friends, thank you for joining us today. I'm Paul Dhanuka. I'm a medical doctor, and for nearly 20 years, along with my wife, who's sitting there, a cancer doctor, we have been privileged to take care of thousands and thousands of families in the area. We've raised 3 children here, 2 doctors and 1 teacher. I'm also an assistant professor at UC Davis and another University of Medical Sciences. I'm also the president of North Valley Medical Association, as well as I serve on many boards, advisory boards for Turtle Bay, Simpson University, Public Health. I'm also a business owner and have been involved in real estate developments. Frankly, it's not my achievement, it's not my accomplishment. It's the accomplishment of a small town called Reading, who have blessed us with their generosity and kindness. And now it's my turn to give back. That's why I'm running for the city council. What I really want to focus, as we will talk in the evening, are a few priority items, but the most important item in front of us to heal our community, to lead our community with a united purpose, a clear vision, and a pragmatic plan. And I intend to do that. And that's probably why they put me in the center, so that I can unite everyone. But we have a lot of challenges, but I'm absolutely sure that we can, working together, make our city an inspiration for our next generation, as well as destination for the rest of the nation. And I intend to do that, and I'll try to earn your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Well, thank you for being here tonight. My name is Mike Laton. I know you had a lot of choices tonight where you could be, but you chose us. That's pretty cool. So thank you for being here. I've been in Reading since 1995, almost 30 years. I remember Reading before we had In-N-Out Burger, before the Macy's was built, before Shasta View Drive was built all the way to Rancho. I remember Starbucks being built in 1997. I've been in this town for almost 30 years. I have a wealth of knowledge. I understand the heritage of Reading. It's been an amazing city, and I've just never left. I want to be here. I want my kids to be here. I want my grandkids to stay here. It's a great city, and we remember what it was in 1995, and we love a lot of things about that. I've been married for almost 25 years. I have 4 kids. We've raised our kids here in this town. It's been a great place to raise our children. And again, I hope our children can stay. I hope we can make the city an even better place. I hope our grandkids can be here so we can all stay together. I've had a business for over 20 years. I work in the insurance and financial services. I know that's a hot topic. It's a tough industry, a lot of changes out there. My office has served the community well. I have a staff of 10 people. We represent about 10% of the people in the city, so we help a lot of people. I'm that person that's in crisis every day. We solve problems. Problem solving is a thing that we do just about every day. It's so important. And I've served on the school board at UPrep. I still serve there, been over there for 10 years. California Soccer Park and Reading Youth Soccer for over 10, 15 years. I've been in this community. I've seen a lot of problems. And that's my favorite thing to do, is just to solve problems and get involved in tough situations. I love the strategy. I just love helping people. And friends, family, people, customers, they've just been asking me to serve for a lot of years. And this is my time to lead. It's my time to use leadership. And I want to be here forever with my family, my kids, my grandkids, and just make Reading such a better place for all of us. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Joshua?
Hello, good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you, League, for putting this on. I'm Joshua Johnson. I'm actually your recently appointed city council member, and actually I'm up here because I want to earn your vote. I want to earn the vote of the people. I've really enjoyed sitting on city council these last few months and getting into really the thick of some really important issues in our city. But really what I'm passionate about is seeing our city thrive with an increased job market, with housing availability, with reduced homelessness. And these aren't just buzzwords for me. These are things that I've actually spent a lot of time getting to know at an intimate level and know firsthand. You know, with jobs, when I first moved here, I got directly involved with the Shasta EDC, which is our Economic Development Corporation. And I co-founded the Startup Reading community. We also brought the Startup Games here to the city, which is in its 9th annual, event this year. I'm very proud of that and what it's doing in our community. When it comes to housing, I'm a builder. I've been in construction for 8 years. I know firsthand the challenges that builders face. I want to help remove any unnecessary friction in that world. I want speed to permitting just like everybody else does. But I kind of want to take a different approach and want to see us do whatever we can do to think creatively to bring about solutions that increase our supply. In order to plateau prices, we have to increase housing supply. So I want to see what we can do as a city to do that. And when it comes to homelessness, I've been working for years with our local nonprofits, Good News Rescue Mission and others, to to work on these issues firsthand. And one of my favorite projects we're doing is the Sober Living House, where we have renovated a house for about 6 to 7 graduates of the addiction recovery program to move into this house, to have transitional housing before they go back independently. And I'm very excited to keep working on these issues. We'll talk more.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I'm going to be Erin Resner, because Erin could not make it because of a prior family commitment. I asked her if she would like to just write an opening statement. And her statement goes like this: I want to begin by thanking you for your understanding of my prior family commitment. Family is at the heart of everything I do, just as the community is. Here are the most important things I'd like to share in 2 minutes, but please feel free to reach out to me anytime. As former mayor and city council member, and as a business owner for over 20 years, I'm ready to serve again. My record is clear. Whether it was advocating for the Crisis Intervention Response Team, securing funding for park rangers, or ensuring our fire engines are fully staffed, I've worked hard to make decisions that keep our community safe and thriving. I base my decisions on facts, not special interests. My commitment is to this community and doing what's best for all of us. I care deeply about thoughtful riverfront planning, balancing growth with preserving the traditions that make Reading special. It's about honoring our roots while embracing the future. Public safety will remain a priority for me, just as it was during my previous service. With the experience and dedication I bring, I'm committed to finding realistic solutions that work. I'd be honored to have your vote, so together we can continue to fight for a city we're all proud to call home. That's from Erin. And so now we are going to start with the questions. These questions are going to go really fast. 1 minute. 1 minute. And Mark, you get to go first. And the first question is, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing Reading today?
Well, it's an excellent question. It's certainly the economy right now. The scarcity of jobs in this city, the lack of affordable housing in this city are stifling our lives. And I think that in my time on the city council, the last 4 years, I've met those people that are living those lives. And I spend my time out there. I work this job full time as a councilman, reaching out to the people about the issues in the city. And for many of you, you each have your own individual issue. And then you bring them to me, and I look for ways to help you with that. But as far as I'm concerned, certainly in Reading, the economic situation is just quite troubling, and there's no real easy answer to fix that. We have to work together. If we work together, we can make a difference.
Thank you. Ian?
The biggest problem I see is housing. So many things are tied to housing. Just the stability that housing provides for everyone or anyone is sort of the key to job growth, homelessness, just kind of anything you can think of. It all ties back to housing. And so I would like to work on establishing a better continuum of housing, because right now you're kind of either renting or you're trying to get to a single family home. So sort of more studios, more small houses, just making it more of a continuum. And then also part of that would be getting subsidies from the state and federal government to bring those costs down. And then also really try and make the planning department, or give them more resources so that the planning department can get through permitting faster and just work on housing quicker, which will eventually bring prices down.
Thank you. Dave?
So I definitely would say job growth in the economy is one major component to the issues that we have right now. Obviously, housing is a part of that, but as a chamber member myself, I'm going out and I go to all these ribbon cuttings and I'm seeing all these new businesses that are starting up, and I love it. Every single time I see a new business open in this town, it's a beautiful thing. And we have so much space out there right now for businesses to become startups, and I'd like to see more. That's where we can see someone go out, start a business, generate income for themselves, get that real job that's going to earn real good money for them, and that's when they can be able to afford housing. They can be able to buy the homes in our area. We have a shortage of good, well-paying jobs, and so I see business growth as the answer to that question. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Paul?
So, of course, cost of living and lack of well-paying jobs, as much as they should be, is of course an important problem. But I would address another problem which we all face in our life pretty much every day, or someone in the family faces: shortage of medical care. And that's kind of close to me, but I'm sure each one of you has felt that, whether it's you personally or your family members, especially our senior citizens, families with young children. They're finding it extremely difficult to find medical care. And it's not just doctors. The shortage of nurses, X-ray techs, mental health, rehab, you name it. We are short on supply of all of that. And that's a major part of our economy too. So I want to talk about both the things as the night goes along: economy as well as medical care.
Thank you. Mike?
Yeah, so public safety and quality of life, it's the most important thing we hear every single day. I've been in this town for 30 years. I remember what it was like in 1995. I remember that we could go to the parks at 8 o'clock and feel safe. I remember taking walks with my wife. We could go downtown. We can go to the trails and feel good. It was different then. And yes, Reading has improved over the years. We've gained a lot. It's better. But there's a lot of things that we remember from the past that we want back. And it can be that way because I remember it. I've been here for 30 years. It was great. You know, I wouldn't trade those years from what it was like. So public safety is the number one thing we got to work on to get back to our quality of life. And then we can get back to enjoying the things that we do: walking the trails, riding the bike, taking the kids to the park, you know, just having fun, because we like to have fun in this town, but we want to feel safe and we want to do it well.
Thank you. Joshua?
So, you know, all these things are right on. Everyone's hitting them. But what is driving that? Sales tax. Sales tax revenue is taking a huge hit this year, and everyone's feeling a pinch. When sales tax revenue takes a hit, which is about $30 million of our budget, fire and police, which is 85% of our budget, is going to take a hit eventually. The biggest issue facing our city is how are we going to face a budget deficit in the next few years, and how are we going to do that wisely as a council? How are we going to balance the need for good parks and public safety? And we're going to have to do that. But I think also, though, let's go upstream. Our economy here in Reading is largely driven by construction. We can see a direct correlation: when construction is down, our sales tax are down. What are we going to do to help increase the supply of housing, get our people back to work doing the jobs that they know how to do and are skilled to do in our area, which will increase the amount of lumber that's being purchased, the fixtures that are being purchased, the appliances that are being purchased, and the housing we desperately need? Thank you.
Thank you. And Anthony, you get to go last.
I believe the city's biggest issue that almost feels like we actively ignore is the mental health of our youth. There's always a lot of concern about public safety and homelessness, and the source of that is our youth are in dangerous home environments that eventually grow up to be our drug users, or causing crime, or just being homeless in general, and furthers the issue down the line for our future. So I think we need to focus more on getting more youth centers and more mental health facilities to help the youth and preserve our future now.
Thank you. So Ian, you get to go first. And this question is, are you in favor of proceeding with the revamp of South City Park when the city can't take care of Big League Dreams Park?
Well, part of that is Big League Dreams wasn't owned by the city when all that went down, so that's kind of two different apples and oranges, but they are, I guess they are similar. I think the city could take care of South City Park. They have plans for it. They're working on it. I don't see why they couldn't take care of the park because Big League Dreams was run by the city for quite a while. I think a number of years before it was taken over by a private entity. So, and in that time, it went well. I think that's when most people remember it being a nice place to go.
Thank you. Dave?
I love that someone brought up parks because parks is actually something that I have a whole strategic plan built around. But I will try to minimize my response because I have 50 seconds now. South City Park, obviously we know, has had issues over the past. Part of the redevelopment of that park is so that we can really bring it back into being another community facility that where, again, we feel safe going to and we feel safe being a part of. I don't like to compare that to Big League Dreams or now the Reading Sports Park. Reading Sports Park, being operated by Big League Dreams, that got run down into the ground. There was, and I'm going to call it out, there was mismanagement from the city on oversight for that. We should have known a long time ago, and as a person who used those facilities, I did know. We asked management of the facilities, and they said, we have this big plan. We're going to get this all done in the next year. Anyways, we all see how that went down. And, you know, all we can do is pick up the pieces from where we found them and try to do better from here on out. So let's fix that facility.
Thank you. Mike? I mean, Paul, sorry.
So it was pretty painful and hurtful to see so many children and young adults losing their space to play in Big League Dreams. What we need for South City Hall is a public-private partnership. I like the model we have in Colt 45, a private nonprofit board who has done an excellent job in attracting the players, the leagues, and the other things without being a burden on the city budget. That's what I would like to see. A public-private partnership, hopefully a public nonprofit board running the South City Hall, which can generate its own income, is run by the volunteers, but has support from the city without being a burden on it.
Thank you. Now, Mike.
So South City Park, typically when we work on parks, we get a lot of money from the state. We get grants. We have some really good grant writers. And so why would you ever want to turn down free money? Free money to build parks, to improve them, they're important for the kids. So yeah, I would absolutely support that because I know that's not all city money that's going into that. As far as Big League Dreams, I am a board member at the California Soccer Park. I've been involved with soccer for 15 years. Our board has offered to help Big League Dreams, to step in on the short-term or a long-term deal. We could solve that problem and get involved cheaper than what the city would pay to do that. The city recently allocated $200,000 to say they were going to run it on a short-term basis for 6 months. We know what labor costs when you do it with the city. It's expensive to do it as a government. There's different solutions. So the Big League Dreams is a huge asset to the community. We need to get that place open. We can do it very cost effective, and we can use community leaders such as the California Soccer Park or other organizations, and we can step in and we can get it done.
Thank you. Joshua?
Yeah. I kind of agree with Ian that it is kind of a little bit of an apples and oranges. Big League Dreams is owned by the city on the ground and the infrastructure, but the operations was a leasehold interest that failed. And our hope is that we actually will do it better in the long term, and that's what we're exploring and the city's going to bring to us. But South City Park, I would actually disagree with Dr. Danuka on this. I do think that splash pads and pickleball is something the city is very equipped to maintain and manage in the long run, and all of the amenities that we're going to do out there. And I think the Colt 45s are doing what they do very well where they are at, and they do baseball really well, and I think that's great. I think that partnership can continue to remain, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in South City. I do also, all the things that I really love about parks, I will also be one to ask the question, how are we going to pay to maintain it in the long run? So every grant we go to get, I'm going to ask Travis Meny, how are we going to build this into the budget? Does it fit long term?
Thank you. Anthony?
I feel like the city is more than equipped to deal with the South City Park. And as far as the Big League Dreams, we have that short-term plan that we had just recently talked about at the city council meeting. And I think if all else fails, the city will be able to figure out what to do with it and handle it appropriately. I agree, though, with the South City Park that the city can handle it just well all on its own.
Mark? Sure. Are you in favor of proceeding with the revamp of South City Park when the city can't take care of Big League Dreams Park?
Yes, let me correct a little information. The city's always owned Big League Dreams. We leased it out, and unfortunately, it was mismanaged. In fact, we went from 2009 was the last P&L statement we got. So we were losing money. As far as city parks go, they're losers for the city. They're a service that the city provides the constituents. We don't make money on our parks. South City Park needs to be revamped. I get that. Unfortunately, we went outside the state, we went outside the city and the state to New Jersey to get somebody to design it. And on the day that they did the open house over there, everything was given, all the wish list, except for baseball, wasn't on the wish list. We had to put that in ourselves. They want to put a dog park there. I love my dog. I take my dog for walks on a daily basis. But I want a Major League Baseball field there because we don't have one in Reading. And the kids that are moving into that size field need a place to play, need a place to compete, and bring tournaments into Reading, which will then make it profitable for those baseball organizations.
Thank you. So, Dave, you get to go first this time. And what do you see as the most challenging public safety issue in Reading? And what approaches or responses would you advocate for as a city council member?
You know, when we talk about public safety issues in Reading, obviously the first thing that comes to most people's minds is homelessness. You know, and obviously there are so many different aspects to homelessness that I'm just going to not even begin to discuss because this is going to take over way too much. But we need to be addressing our homeless issues as far as how many programs we have out there to be able to assist these people. What's happening is we have 35 different organizations that are all prepared and ready to give service if someone raises their hand. But right now, they're not raising their hands because they don't have to. I applaud Chief Barner for coming out with the 3 strikes rule for his camp moving. So basically, if you're found to have been present at three times at camp and you're not going to ask for help, it means you're now down to a 24-hour notice. You have to move and keep moving, and that will either get people to raise their hand and ask for help, and we can provide it in a compassionate way like I'd like to, or they can become a burden on someone else's community.
Thank you. Paul?
So there are 2 aspects to public health. Our police does a great job in public safety, but they're overburdened with responding to many other challenges, which primarily are because the result of a mental health illness and related drug abuse problem, drug addiction problem. We got to address that. And I'm in talk with one of the psychiatrists in town, as well as other mental health workers. What we need is a mental health treatment facility which can treat the mental health problems as well as the drug dependence problem. Unless you solve that, our public safety issue cannot be solved. And that's what I intend to focus on, and I have a plan for that, which has a 3-point plan, which we can discuss later.
Thank you. Mike?
Public safety, can we talk about the roundabout by Costco? I'm just kidding. So, well, there's other things that are more important. Let me talk about something I got to do this week. And I mean, we know public safety is really, really important, but I got a chance to go down to the Good News Rescue Mission and take a tour. It was 1.5 hours. It was with Mimi, who's in the room, big community leader. Anybody can go do a tour. And it really helps take away any kind of perceptions of how we think the problem should be solved. You learn a lot. I got to ask a lot of hard questions, and I gained so much knowledge I could have written a book about everything that happened that day. And one thing I'd say is I'd encourage everybody, take the tour at the rescue mission. You know, we all have a solution in our head of how we think we're going to solve the problem, but we really don't necessarily know the problem. We need to hear from the experts. And when we get in the field and we talk to the rescue mission and the other services in town, and we find out more about the problem and the help that's out there to help the people, it's going to give us a lot of insight that we really need. So please go to the rescue mission, take a tour, and we'll learn together.
Thank you. Joshua?
I was able to join the Citizen Police Academy with Reading Police this last year, and it was eye-opening. And I just want to point out a few things that are really working well. One, yes, we are fully staffed, and I thank Councilmember Mazzano and the previous councils for doing that during a surplus time when we had the budget to do it. And I also think that the addition of the crisis intervention team has been key and significant. But we are mostly moving homeless to other places, and the homeless are just moving to camp. And without what Dr. Danuka is talking about, which is addiction recovery, a detox center, mental health, most of our calls for service are related to homeless. So the Prop 1 funding that's coming in from the state of California into the city of Redding is going to help us with this. Almost 1/3 of those living on our streets with untreated mental health will be able to be taken care of in new ways on our street. But we need a carrot and stick approach. That takes social service agencies, which provide the heart, but also the accountability, which is our police department.
Thank you. Anthony?
To further on what everyone else is saying, it's with homeless and public safety. It's definitely going to be a requirement to get more into the mental health facilities and get more availability for this for our homeless community, but they're not always going to willingly take it. As to repeat what you said, the carrot and stick approach is definitely something that needs to happen. They need an incentive to go to it. I feel like the best way to handle that is to start working more with our county workers who are out there in the field almost every day working with the homeless and the unhoused population and seeing firsthand what they're doing and how they're doing it. And the county workers themselves specifically know what needs to happen. And so there needs to be more communication, more work between the city workers and the county workers. And then from there, we can start working with better health facilities and mental health facilities and start improving the lives of our Redding residents.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you. You know, in California, we have an organization called the League of California Cities. They're our lobbyists in Sacramento. They represent over 450 cities, and Redding is one of them. In 2024, I received a presidential appointment to the Public Safety Committee where we discussed the laws. Today, while I was in Sacramento testifying in front of a joint session of the Public Safety Committee at the Capitol, I was notified that I was appointed the chair of the statewide Public Safety Committee. So somebody thinks that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to public safety, and that I do. And I will tell you that in our city, those numbers I gave you before are the result of Brian Barner and his staff and the tools that we've given our officers to do their job. You know, we are a very compassionate city here in Redding, very, very compassionate. And we want to help the unsheltered. We really do. But if they don't want to take our help, then we need them to go somewhere else. Prop 36 is going to do that. It's going to make it an ability for the homeless or the repeat offenders. They give a choice. You get a felony after 3 times, you can go to jail, or we can put you in a program. And if we put you in the program and you successfully complete it, we'll expunge your record and we'll help turn your life around.
Thank you. Ian?
I would say homelessness here in the county, mainly because police are sort of dealing with this when they shouldn't really be the ones that are dealing with this problem. And that takes away their time from other things that they should be working on. I have a background in criminal justice, and I really enjoyed the policing in the community, and that was one aspect, was figuring out basically where police are most effective. And unfortunately, they are not the most effective when they are dealing with people who, you know, might be having a mental health break, might be under the influence, things like that. So, and that's where my emphasis on housing comes back in. The best thing you can do for people who are homeless is to get them in a stable situation, which is going to be housing, and then go from there. It's a lot easier to get them wraparound services after that point. Thank you.
Thank you. First question goes to Paul Danuka. And Paul, the question for you this time is, where do you stand on the tribe's relocation to the strawberry fields?
So I'm not a gambling man. I have never bought lottery. I have never gambled. And frankly, I'll rather see a medical school built somewhere in town. However, having said that, I'm in support of casinos' sovereignty, the tribe's sovereignty. They are sovereign nation. Secondly, I am a constitutional man. People have property right in this country. Third, they are good neighbors to us. Let's be good neighbors to them. So for those reasons, you don't have to support them or help them, but let's not be bad neighbors. Let's not oppose them and make life more difficult for our neighbors. Plus, it's going to be a big economic boom. A lot of well-paying jobs, which will attract the people from all over the California. So if there are casinos down south, I have no objection to that.
Thank you. Mike, your turn.
Yeah. The casino's going to be built. We're not going to stop it. Nobody can stop it. It's their land. And we need to realize that it's going to be there. I'm looking for win-win situations. And they're going to be a customer of the city of Reading. They need services from the city. We have two choices. We could either create long-term enemies, or we can find a way to work with them and partner with them and bring out the best. You know, there are some win-win situations for the city, such as electricity can be cheaper to produce if our turbines are running. There's a lot of good value we get out of letting them be there and providing services to them. So they're going to be there, they're going to build, and let's look for all the win-win situations. Let's negotiate with them. Let's talk about what they're going to need and pull all the great wins we can for the city, because there are going to be some benefits. There's going to be some good things that come out of that. There's going to be development. There's going to be more roundabouts, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we can make that roundabout a little bit bigger. But they're going to be here, and let's work with them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I heard they're
Joshua?
adding 3 roundabouts just for you, Mike. So, yeah, I'm fully in support of anyone who owns their property. They're sovereign to pursue dreams that they want to pursue. But when it comes to the city and another sovereign nation, it's going to come down to negotiation. We have to, as a city council, do what's best for the people of Reading, the citizens of Reading, and the taxpayers of Reading. So I'm going to be looking at it from that lens. What are the impacts to our city? What are the impacts to our utility system? What are the impacts to all the... I'm going to look at the data, and I want it to be a good deal. I don't think, and let this be on the record, I don't think the deal the county did was a good deal for the county and the people and taxpayers of the county. I think we can do better. And I think that it is like 2 nations doing a deal and putting something together. So it's going to take a lot of time, and I believe that it's going to take a lot of effort. So that's where I am.
Thank you. Anthony?
I am in full support of them, and we thrive when we work together. So working with them, working out deals, treating them like a sovereign nation, which they essentially are, it could be a huge economic boon for the city of Reading and for the Rancheria.
Thank you. Mark?
I've supported the tribe from day one. It's a sovereign nation. You have to respect that. As far as their move to the freeway, it was blocked by a city council that didn't want them there and did an illegal criminal act, in my opinion, to block them. We got sued. Thanks to Michael DeQuisto, he had forced Red Emerson to give a $100,000 indemnification, and that covered most of the legal fees that we had to pay when we got sued. The tribe is still entitled to $100,000 in legal fees, but they're not asking for that because they want to be good neighbors. And for me, that's 2,000 jobs during construction over 2 years, 1,000 jobs once it's built. And where are those people going to spend their money when they get off work? They're going to spend it in our city. They're going to buy our gas, they're going to buy our groceries, and that's going to prosper for the city. We had a chance. We had a chance at getting that money, that the deal that the sheriff got. We are in much better position to provide law enforcement services to the tribe than the sheriff. My son-in-law is a deputy sheriff. On some nights, Mike Johnson's only got 2 deputies out there, one in South County and one in North County. It's not enough to get the job done.
Thank you. Ian?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Where do you stand on the tribe's relocation to the strawberry fields?
Yeah, very much in support of indigenous sovereignty, but having worked for the county, I also know maybe it wasn't the best deal in terms of services provided, but to be honest, I actually don't know much about this situation, so I don't feel I can adequately speak on it, but the tribe has been a good community member, so I think I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and work with them in the future.
Good. Thank you. Next, Dave.
I'm actually going to stand up this time, and I told Paul I wouldn't do it because he feels like I'm too tall next to him. So you're going to always find me talking about personal liberties when we start talking about the rights of people to do things on their properties and those sorts of things. The tribe is a sovereign nation, and we need to respect that. But they also are literally our next door neighbors. And as you heard in my intro, neighbors help each other, as long as we have an aligned mindset. I believe that the tribe has been a good community partner to us, and I know this from my nonprofit work. I have had truckloads of turkeys at Thanksgiving, Christmas, all these things being given out to needy families, and it was the Rancheria that provided those. They have been a good neighbor, and I believe that we should be a good neighbor back. Not to speak about vices or any of those things. Gambling is not a healthy thing by any means. But they're going to do it. They already have a casino, and this will allow them to become more prosperous.
Thank you. Next question, first answer, Mike. The question is, what is your position on the Riverfront specific plan?
Can we just say rodeo? I mean, the rodeo is the hot topic. It's coming up in the community. It's the number one concern. It's the biggest problem we need to fix. It's a discussion that started 2-3 years ago. And if you know a little bit about the rodeo, when the rodeo is in town, the businesses are busy. They're making money. The hotels are full. The economy is good. It brings a lot of tax revenue in here. So as far as the riverfront property, we need to solve the rodeo first. I'm not in support of selling the property for surplus land. I'm not going to give it away. We need to control that land. We need to give rodeo their long-term lease, and it should have been done a long time ago. And we have some creative ways of how we can do it sooner rather than later, and I have some ideas to help fix that problem, but I'm not on the council right now. But let's recognize, we're not going to sell that property. We're not going to give it up to surplus. We're not going to give it away. We're going to let rodeo be here. They've been here forever. They've been here for 75 plus years, longer than I've been alive, longer than me who's lived in this town for 30 years. But the rodeo is a great community asset. We've got to take care of them, and we've got to do it sooner rather than later and quick.
Thank you. Joshua?
Yeah, let's be clear. The surplus land, when I got up and actually supported declaring it surplus, it was actually when the rodeo was talking to the then developers about being a part of that plan and having a bigger arena and staying on those grounds. And I've always been in support of them staying on those grounds. What I'm also hearing from community is that they want to see more events there, which is actually what the Rodeo Association said that they want to do as well. So I'm in support of bringing these two sides together. And we started an ad hoc committee that's pursuing that process right now. And we're having great conversations already. And those meetings are only accelerating next week with the ad hoc committee. And I think that we're going to be able to find some consensus. I think we're going to be able to find some unity around some common goals with that. And I think it's about getting all the parties to the table and talking and putting everything that, all the needs of the city on the table, the needs of the Rodeo Association, so we can find an agreement.
Thank you. Anthony?
Could you repeat the question, please?
What is your position on the Riverfront specific plan?
I think the Riverfront specific plan is going according to plan. As far as what was originally established, the biggest hiccup has been the rodeo, and to move it or do anything other than improve the rodeo is insane. It's a huge economic boon to Reading. It's been here forever. It should stay here forever. It's a major icon of Reading. It should always be a major icon. As far as the rest of the plan, it looks good to me. The rodeo itself is the only thing that it shouldn't have even been brought up in question to sell it. They need their lease. They needed it yesterday. We need to move forward with that.
Thank you. Mark?
You know, a bit of a history lesson here. That started when I was in Los Angeles, and my phone started blowing up with people saying, don't sell the rodeo grounds, don't sell the riverfront. That's our land. And they're right. It is their land. It was given to the people of Reading. And the night that we were getting this unsolicited offer from an investment group to buy the riverfront, I actually told the mayor then, Aaron Resner, I am not going to closed session. I don't want to be any part of this, selling the riverfront. So when the vote came out, Julie Winters and Christian Schrader wanted to sell the land. Michael DeQuisto and I did not. And so it was very crucial on the vote. I voted for Aaron's plan of spending $1.25 million just to stop the sale of the land. What do I think is going to happen to that riverfront specific plan? It's going to sit on a shelf. We do not have the money to develop that. It's a great idea, but I'm telling you, right now, we're looking at a $10 million shortfall in our budget. And it scares me. We're $5 to $6 million currently in our short-term needs are about, I think, somewhere between $10 and $15 million a year for the next 15 years.
Thank you. Ian?
So I've been waiting to answer this question for 2-3 years now, so I'm happy about this one. And I've been saying it since I heard about this. I used to work in Parks and Rec, and I know what it's like to have a green space in the middle of a city. And once you lose that, it is incredibly hard to get it back if you ever do. And so what I've been saying is I'm in favor of preserving the natural green spaces of the area. And if we have the money, if we have the resources, redeveloping the parts that are already developed. So in case the rodeo ground, to have the rodeo be bigger, grander, but also have it open for other events, other times of the year, because that's more money coming in too. So preserving what we have and redeveloping what is already developed.
Thank you. Dave?
It felt so good last time, I gotta stand up again. So first off, I would never have the gumption to stand up in front of the city council and say that I support selling that off as surplus land. That's the city's land, that's the people's land, it's a park, it is a facility that we all use. That being said, I wanted to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem by just complaining. So I was active inside the specific plan. I went to the group meetings, sat down, and we had some amazing community people there. As a matter of fact, I think I saw a couple of you out in the audience that were actually a part of that. The community came together and they made a very clear statement, and that is that they want the rodeo grounds to stay there. That was one of the things I heard. Secondarily, they want to see that northern section left to be educational, entertainment, and those sorts of things for our community. I am firmly behind that. I want that to be the case for as long as I can possibly be alive on this earth, and hopefully beyond that. So,
Thank you. Paul?
So I have attended some of these meetings, and public is clearly speaking. They want the rodeo there. They want the northern part to stay as natural as possible and the southern part to be developed. However, let's address the elephant in the room. What we have lost here is a trust between our government and the public. People I talk with feel that their voice is not being heard and their opinion doesn't matter. That's what we need to address if we want to lead our city with a united purpose. And I want to change that course. We need to get out of our fears and listen to the public rather than just doing what we think is right. So what I intend to do is, I really intend to have more surveys, not what just the the riverfront plan is currently doing, but actually just ask the public, do you want the rodeo? Yes. Do you want the natural there? Yes. And listen to the public and do it in a transparent and a fair fashion.
Thank you very much. Joshua, you have the next question first. What do you think is the biggest challenge for Reading business owners today, and what are your ideas to help them?
Yeah, I think Reading business owner, one of the big challenges is finding talent and being able to do workforce development and grow your talent base. We need to, I really like Ian's idea about the continuum of housing. We need more housing stock, more types of housing so that young people can afford to be here. Young people don't have to move for a job. So we actually need not just continuum of housing, but kind of different types of jobs that kind of fill in our workforce here. I'm grateful to hear of some progress down at Stillwater that are going to be announced soon. I'm hoping that we continue to see more jobs come to this area, but we need to actually be training our young people. So I think one of the biggest opportunities is the baby boomers handing off the businesses to the next generation, the millennials and the Gen X, or the Gen Y. So we need to enable that and to encourage that so they can take over those construction businesses, take over those service businesses for the next generation.
Thank you. Anthony?
I believe being a small business owner myself, the biggest issue in Reading as far as small business owners is just trying to even start. We have so many small businesses in Reading, a lot of great businesses, but it's really hard to get any funding to even start going anywhere unless you already have the money to begin with, or you can find an investor that is willing to back you. Another big issue is, like Johnson was saying, was trying to get any land or business or even a building to rent out of from the older generations. Either they gatekeep it and want you to be in business for several years before they even consider you, or they want a lot of money down, which you already are struggling to get money to begin with to get anywhere. So I think as a city, if we could find more ways to work with small businesses, get them out there, get their name out there, get them notified more often. Reading City, the Chamber of Commerce does a great job doing that as it is. But if we could get more opportunities out there for small business owners, that would be a boon.
Thank you. Mark?
I'm going to keep my eye on you this time. I apologize. Look, once you're on the city council, the mayor has the obligation to assign all the council members to a variety of committees. Because I work my job full-time for the city, I attend most, if not all, the meetings on a regular basis. And the Downtown Business Group, I'm there on a monthly basis talking to local business owners about their problems in Reading and what we can do to make them go away. The thing that I think is hurting us a little bit here is the fact that this $20 minimum wage, a lot of businesses in this town that can't afford to pay that. And they're losing their employees to organizations that can make that $20 hourly wage. And that hurts. That hurts our local businesses. And we're doing everything we can in the downtown area to make them prosper. We listen to them. And we bring those ideas that they give us back to the city hall, back to the council, and we try to make improvements for those people.
Thank you. Ian?
And this ties back into my emphasis on housing, but planning and permitting, that whole department, I really think needs a lot more support behind it. From what I've heard, what I've seen, it's just quite slow. And I know bureaucracy always takes a little while, but if you just really don't have the personnel and all that going, it makes it that much slower for everyone. So that includes for housing, but that includes for businesses that, you know, they're waiting a month to get this one permit, and that's them losing money because they're not making money for that whole month. So just that would be what I would want to focus on is, because that just has knockdown effects for the whole city to really get that department running smoothly and just being able to take on more volume.
Thank you. Dave?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but we're going to go with workforce housing. So essentially, what we have as a major problem is that, again, the workers that are working in these small businesses can't afford the homes that they are wanting to rent out. So they're looking at, okay, so they rent a room in a house with 6 other people. It's not their ideal living scenario, and so they keep getting pushed and pushed to go into a different field in a different location. If we start actually utilizing, like we were just mentioning in the permitting process, we have pre-made ADU plans available at City Hall. A lot of people don't understand that. They think that, oh, I have to go get a drafter and I have to get all this stuff done. They're ready, they're there. You know, you don't actually have to do as much work to get one of those built. And when you add in a small housing unit like that, what that does is it forces the workforce housing to start going down in price, which I know real estate investors are going to hate that I say lowering rents. Oh no. But at the same time, the rents are very high for our workforce housing. That's the reason why we lost a number of large businesses that were trying to come to our area.
Thank you. Paul?
So my wife and I created several businesses here, institutions, and have created hundreds of jobs over 20 years. We understand the pain and risk a business brings, especially a startup. We have 5 sectors in city. We are a hub for retail, government, education, healthcare, and construction. I want to focus on cutting the red tape for all of them to make it easier. But there's one more thing which I'm uniquely placed to bring to the city. I would like to bring a medical school to our North State. That will be a huge boom for our economy, well-paying jobs. It will attract the best from the entire country and will bring our city a name recognition which will become a destination, and also, of course, will solve the problem of medical health workers shortage also.
Thank you. Mike?
Without business, the community dies. Without customers going to the business dies. And so how do we drive more customers to business so we're thriving? And one thing I look at is affordability. You know, there's a lot of fees, there's a lot of costs, there's things that are coming out of the daily budget of most of the people in this room. You know, the stats we hear is 60 to 80% of the people in town are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're just one crisis away from everything falling apart. But can we be creative? Can we look at the things the city charges to us? You know, we look at downtown parking. It was a good concept, but we can get better at it. We can do better. You know, how about we give the first 2 hours for free? You know, why can't we do something like that? Or let's at least just get more people to the table to talk about making things more affordable, to drive people to business downtown. And so we've got a good start. We can do a lot better. We can look at our utility rates. I talked to one restaurant. My favorite restaurants have closed down this year, so many of them. And we look at those utility rates, saying one business closed down. It was $12,000 for the utility bill. Maybe it's something we can look at to make it more affordable for that business, you know.
Thank you. Okay, Anthony, you get to go first again. Ready? I want to talk about youth in Shasta County and Reading. What are we doing to make our community safer for youth? We talk about all the homeless folks, and, you know, we've talked about all the problems. And so what are we doing? How are we focusing on that? And how do we help them stay here and contribute to our community over time? And for those who left, like my daughter, how do we get them to come back once they have all these skills and stuff to contribute? So let's think about youth for a minute.
So I think the best thing we can do with the youth is we have a lot of youth-oriented service groups like Active 2030s or the Kiwanis. Rotary does a lot for the youth. And it's a lot of creating programs and events for the youth to participate in and having a safe place to come participate in said event. As far as making it a safer place for them, there's other organizations, that all volunteer organizations. These service groups are doing phenomenal work, cleaning up local trails. Our City of Reading and Recreation does a great job with maintaining the parks, and our police department helps a lot with making sure, like, the downtown marketplace is patrolled regularly. I go down there often to the downtown Market Street, and I always see the bike patrols rolling through there or a cruiser passing through, making sure everything's safe. There's no criminal activities and tagging.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, certainly we're making headway with our park rangers. They're in the parks all the time, and that's where the kids like to hang out. Our skateboarding park, certainly the sand volleyball courts, and that's what our young youth want to do. And you're right, though, they leave. They want to get out of Reading. They want to go to the big city. And I think where we're falling short is that we're not working together to create a brighter future for our youth. We need to help build their lives, and you know that they're going to leave, but then they want to come back, and we need to bring them back because we understood the quality of life here. And they go for a little while, and they say, this isn't really that great over here. My God, look, traffic is incredible. And then they come back to Reading. And we work on that. We work on that by creating programs for the youth in our city. And our Parks Department does an excellent job of that. Our new Parks Director is doing all kinds of things to make things better for our youth today. Stop.
Thank you, Ian.
So for youth, like we talked about before, for public safety, making them be able to feel they're safe wherever they go, but then also understand where they do go. So that would be parks. The skate park was mentioned. Just sort of figuring out those activities they do, and then providing resources for there. But something I've wanted to do is take a serious look at plans for a four-year university. I know there was plans for a UC and things like that before, and I'd really like to sort of dig into those and see why they stopped or why it never came or what happened. Because, I mean, I graduated when Merced came, or I graduated high school right when Merced was opening, and if there was a UC Reading, I would have stayed. And, you know, I'm back now, but I would have never left. And there's a lot of my friends who, they go to college and then they don't come back. But if there's higher education, they will stay. Also jobs.
Thank you. Dave?
Also jobs. Sorry, got me on sideways. Obviously, youth organizations are something that I'm very familiar with. I've ran several. As a matter of fact, I'm the Lieutenant Governor-elect for Kiwanis for Division 39, which is everything from Oroville all the way up to the Oregon border. So what we do is we help encourage our youth to get into leadership opportunities and be a part of their community. And I think that's truly what's lacking. You know, we can give them sports to play. We can give them this, we can give them that, and they can go do all these different activities. But I have found that what really truly bonds someone to their community is being a part of creating the solutions themselves. If we say to them, hey, what do kids want in this area? And they say, a skate park or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. And we say, okay, how do we create that? What do you look for when you're wanting a skate park? Great, well, we want this, 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 and this. And if they're involved in that planning process, they then get ownership into their community, and that's what we need to be encouraging.
Thank you. Paul?
This is why I'm running. I want my children to come back. I want them to want to come back. And we do not need to do anything for them. They will be the solution which will benefit all of us. What we need to do is provide them an inspiration and opportunity. And inspiration happens with things like museum, Turtle Bay. We provide the support for Turtle Bay Museum, planetarium. I want a big planetarium here. But most importantly, professional educational opportunities and well-paying jobs. Those are the two critical things. That's why I again come back to a medical school which will train not just the doctors, but the nurses, therapists, psychologists. And it will bring very, very well-paying jobs so our children will be inspired by it, and that will solve all our issues.
Thank you. Mike?
I mean, the youth are our future, and I'm a family guy. I've got 4 kids, and we need the mothers, we need the fathers, we need the grandparents, we need the brothers, the sisters, we need the mentors to embrace our youth, to be around them, to teach them how to grow up with respect, how to do the right thing, the wrong thing. There may not be so much public safety, but the youth are our future, and how are we going to raise our children? How are we going to raise them to be good stewards of this city we live in, to where it's so important. It's great to have the parks, but we need more youth programs. We need affordable youth programs. And as being part of the soccer, it costs money to play soccer. But when I look at all the schools, I see Rother, I see Juniper, and I see all the lower income schools that are typically not putting their kids into youth sports because it's too expensive. So let's solve that problem. Let's find ways to get kids into activities. You know, let's get more mentors. You know, because it's tough for these single moms and dads and families to afford this stuff. And that's a problem to solve because we need to get our youth involved in activities, mentor them, and help raise them.
Thank you. Joshua?
I have my 9-year-old or 10-year-old daughter, 9-year-old. Just kidding. She's shaking her head. She said over here, I see the city through her eyes and what she does. She's a part of West Reading Little League, which I was on their board. I want to thank CSAC. We have some CSAC people in the crowd here and what they do for our city. But any given problem when it comes to youth or anything else, you ask, what can government do? What can the community do? What can I do? And when it comes to our youth, it's a 3-part process. Government can provide infrastructure and public safety. The infrastructure side, one great example of that was I was a part of the project team that brought the sand volleyball courts to Reading over in Lake Reading off of Courts Hill Road there. And that was a great public-private partnership, an example of the city providing the infrastructure, and we provided the labor and manpower and built that, and now our youth are using those incessantly through the night if you ever drive by it in the evening. And I think we just need more of that, community and government working together.
Thank you. And I'm going to move to the closing comments now. And Mark, I'm going to start with you. You have
Well, thank you. Thank
2
you all
minutes.
for-
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you all for sitting through this with us tonight. I'm running for the 2-year seat because I want to finish what I started. When I'm reelected, I'll focus on building station number 9. We need that. The city is moving in that direction. And the longer a fire truck has to respond, the more dangerous it is, because someone's not going to see them or hear them. And if you get in a collision with a fire truck, you lose. But if you're 15 minutes away from a fire truck and having a heart attack, you die. So I need to work on that. I want to continue to make sure that we have the money to keep our police department and our fire department fully staffed. As I said earlier, we're currently looking at a $5 to $6 million deficit. Our unmet needs, those are things that we want, is $10 to $15 million over the next 15 years. That's just staggering. And you talk about our youth, we've got the teen center here. We've got a lot for our youth to do here. And we have plenty of adult mentors. We just need to get a few more out there to help us. We've got a lot of great programs for our youth today. And I would say that during the next 2 years, if we focus on things like the budget, one of the things you need to know about the city of Reading, we're one of 4 cities in the state of California with the lowest tax rate. And I want to keep it that way. When I worked in Sacramento for the Highway Patrol, I managed a $5 million budget and supervised 15 different individuals. We need to sharpen our pencil. We need to prioritize some of the issues and some of the services that we offer. And we get those prioritizations from talking with constituents. And I do that every day. I wish the $600 that we get a month after taxes is only $400. It doesn't cover my gas bill. Thank you. Thank you all. And I would be honored to earn your vote.
Thank you. Ian, you're next.
I'd like to say I'm a good facilitator. I know it sounds like I ramble or I talk quickly, but it's just because there's all this stuff going on all at once. But I do love learning from people, just talking with anyone who has input, because I'm always learning. I know that. There's always going to be stuff that people know more than me, but I do know enough to then communicate to other people. And so, like I said before, sort of elevating and shining the city council on problems in the city and bringing resources and people to bear is how we solve some of these problems. And so I would really look forward to whoever I end up with, working with them and whoever is still on the board. And you can come talk to me after. I'm always willing to talk. And citycounciluponahill.com, that is a joke. But it is a true website, so you can go to it. And all my stuff is on there. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
So earlier today, and you're going to see me reading a little bit because I didn't actually practice this as much as I wanted to earlier, but I got an inspiration from a friend of mine, Thomas Sowell. When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. I am almost to a fault an honest person. I would rather have 100 difficult conversations than one single dishonest one that's easy. What you hear up tonight from a lot of my opponents may be the latter, what you want to hear. And because if they say that, they may get elected and they may use it to get themselves ahead. I come entirely from a service background. Not just my nonprofit work, it extends even into the business I operate. It is based entirely on service to my clients. I could not be as successful as I am without the clients that come back time and time again. I believe our city needs a servant's heart to bring it back from where we find ourselves after several years of special interests guiding our path. Please help me to put it to work and put our community back on track. In addition to the oath I've already taken at the clerk's office, I make the following promises. I will not vote to raise taxes. I will not vote for any unnecessary regulation. I will collaborate with the many service groups in our area to begin more projects to make our city more appealing while efficiently using any funds for the maximum community impact. I will strive to think about how the impacts of the decisions I make affect our most vulnerable residents, including finding alternatives to utility increases whenever possible. I will strive to make every decision the best one for our community, accepting feedback from our community leaders on important issues. If you'd like to learn more about me, please go to backdave.com for more information. I have flyers outside, and I will also be standing out there to answer any questions. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Paul?
At heart, I'm a doctor. And the most important thing for a doctor is to respect the sacred trust their patients put in them. Because I hold the life in my hand when I'm treating a patient. Many of you, many of the community have put their trust in me and my wife's hands. Over time, we have been privileged to carry that trust. Now, I want to do the same thing for our community. To heal it, to grow it, and not just survive but thrive. For that, I promise you I'll work hard. I will give it all I have, but I cannot do it alone. Because it's not about me, it's about all of us. I have served as a leader in many positions, bringing different peoples from different perspectives. I have led the teams of hundreds of people, and I can do it again. But I cannot do it alone. I need your help, I need your vote, I need your support. I have the endorsement from 40 plus community leaders, and not just doctors, but lawyers, real estate, architects, bankers, accountants, 3 city mayors I can name right now, but many more who are supporting me. Ken Murray, our well-known mayor, former mayor, Michael D'Acquisto, Mark Shibula, civil rights activists like Eddie McAllister. But what I need is help from all of you, and not just now, but even after I get elected. I will be having a community picnic on Friday, the 13th of all the times, evening 4 o'clock in Lake Reading Park, and I'll be happy to answer any question, but more importantly, I want to hear from you. What should I do? Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Again, I've lived here probably the longest, most than anybody else here possibly, since 1995. I remember when the first In-N-Out was built in 1996 or 1997. That was a big event there, and that was fun. But I love City of Reading. I love this place. I'm not going anywhere. I've been here for 30 years. There's not another In-N-Out that could be built in another neighboring city that could make me move away. Now, I might go to In-N-Out after this. It's making me hungry just thinking about it. But I'm not going anywhere. I've been in this community forever. I've served in so many different ways. I raised my family here, and I want to raise my kids. I want to see them come back. I want to see my grandparents stay here. So longevity is just so important. But I never got a chance to talk about my business that's been here for over 20 years, how I've led my staff of 10 that's growing, and we're thriving. But how I lead my staff is working together. It's really important to listen to everyone. Everyone has ideas. And it doesn't matter what side we're on, the right, the left, the middle, up, down, wherever it is, everyone's got an idea. And how I work and how I lead is I bring people together and I listen to people of all ideas. Because it's important, because I don't have all the solutions. I can't solve all the problems. But you can help me. You can. And you shouldn't be afraid to speak up, because I'm going to be leaning on people in the community all the time and saying, don't be shy, because you might have that one great idea that you're just too afraid to speak up. But we got to work together, because we have a lot of great ideas out there. And that's how I'm going to lead. I'm going to listen to people. I'm going to bring people together. I don't mind conflict. I don't mind pushing the envelope. I don't mind bending people. It's okay. But the greatest win is when we can work together in a room and bring people together, solve a problem, and we can leave the room just feeling really good about the result. Because we don't have to fight about things. We can find a way to get along. We can change the culture. And there's a lot of things to be done. And I'm just so proud to be in this city. I've been here for over 30 years. I'm not going anywhere. And I just want my kids to come home, and I want my grandkids to stay here forever. I love City of Reading. I love you guys. Thank you. It's been a great place. I hope I can get your vote. I hope I've earned it. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Joshua?
Well, thank you everyone for coming tonight and spending time. I hope we were just as entertaining as Trump and Harris would have been. No, I doubt it. But really, I just, what this comes down to is just about my family. It's about family for a lot of us, about our city, it's about our community. You have to decide who you think can, do the job with honor to actually get results that matters for our city. My wife and I are raising our 4 daughters here, so I am definitely outnumbered at home, which means that I negotiate for a living. But I was thinking about this the other day, is that When it's time for me and our generation to pass the baton to them to lead our city, I don't want them to be battling the same issues we are today. I want us to handle the issues of our day so that they're not doing it the next generation. I was meeting with a mayor that was mayor in the 90s, and we were talking about the same issues they were dealing with then. I think that's an atrocity, and I would count it a failure if after my first 4 years that we haven't seen a marked difference in our homeless population on the streets, that we haven't seen a more sustainable park operations, and that we haven't seen more speed to permitting and our process isn't getting better there. I would say that that would be a failure on my part. I'm going to do everything with my effort to do that. And I think that it really takes, what is your approach? How do you see government? And I think that's what you guys are going to be voting on here today, is do you think that this individual can get the job done? And I would like you to go to joshforredding.com, email me. I want to hear, I want to learn about I've learned so much walking and knocking on doors about various parts of our community. There's so many things to learn, and people bringing up issues that I've never even heard before, and I think are interesting, and I will dig into those issues, and I will learn, and I will get data, and we'll see if we can find solutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anthony?
Thank you, everyone who came out tonight to hear us answer your questions, and it was great questions as well. A lot of things for me to mull over. This was my first forum and my first go at the political arena. I'm just happy to be here, have the opportunity to even attempt to make the community better. I wanted to put more effort into helping the community and working with everyone and building trust and building something for our children, for our youth, and this was the best way that I could see doing that. If you want to ask me questions after this, I'm more than welcome. Otherwise, you can find me on social media at Spangler for City Council. My email is spanglerforcouncil@gmail.com, and again, thanks for being out here tonight.
Thank you, and let's give these folks a big hand. So I want to thank everybody for their attendance tonight. I especially want to thank the 7 of you who are all here. I just looked and you're all men, and the only one that was missing was a woman. Makes me think. Anyway, that concludes our candidates forum for this evening. Remember, September 12th we'll be up in Shasta Lake, Mary Rickert, District 3, with Corky Harlan. And then the Shasta Lake City Council. Shasta Lake City Council actually has 6 people running for 3 seats. And then September 19th, the Anderson City Hall Community Center in Anderson, and they have 4 people running for 3 seats. And I think at least 2 of them are incumbents. And then a very important one, unusual one for us to look at is the Shasta County Office of Education. When we talk about our youth, of course, we have to look at the Shasta County Office of Education and who's running for that. And I was on that board for 25 years, and I never had an opponent, not once in 25 years. So what is that, maybe 6 elections, right? And there are 8 or 9 people running for 3 seats. So there you go. Very important election. And thank you guys, because you're all guys. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming tonight. And I'm sure people will catch you as you walk out.